Hello, I'm Anita Straker, and I want to talk to you about tongue tension in singing. So, the basic idea of singing freely is that we want to use the breath and we want to open up our resonance, and then we also want to get rid of tension. So, there's two main locations that we talk about when we talk about getting rid of tension. The first is kind of at the level of your breathing and your diaphragm. And the second is at the level of your throat and your voice. So the tension down lower can, if there's tension here, so if you're tensing these muscles, then that will also show up in the throat. However, if there's tension here, it is possible for your breathing to be really free. So we're gonna now talk about specifically tension in the back of the tongue. So the reason that it's important to have the back of your tongue soft and flexible and free is because the back of your tongue is connected to your larynx. So if you're a man and you have an Adam's apple, then that's going to be right above your larynx. So you'll actually see, and the cartilage all moves together, so you'll actually see the larynx move up and down as you in your lower voice. When you're singing lower, the muscle that controls the pitch of your sound, it's going to move up and down to create different pitches. However, when you're singing higher, it's going to tilt forward and back like the motion of my hand. So because the back of your tongue is connected to those muscles that need to tilt and lift and move in order to create a free sound on different pitches, if there's any kind of grabbing or tension or restriction in the back of your throat, then that will inhibit your free sound. So this is why it's important to address tongue tension. And rather than give a technical explanation of how to keep that space open and free, I want to walk you through a little meditation. And unfortunately, I can't do the meditation with you because then I would just be going like this and not saying any words. So you might want to watch this through once, and then the second time, follow along in the meditation. And again, the purpose of it is to keep the back of your throat and the back of your tongue loose and free. So I want you to start out and find a comfortable position. It can either be sitting or standing. If you are standing, check that your weight is balanced on your feet, that your knees are slightly bent, just enough so that they're not locked, that your hips are over your ankles, and that your spine is long. And you might want to, even if you're sitting or if you're standing, you might want to put your hands on your belly and just check that your belly is moving up and down so your diaphragm is free. If you know the singing breath, you can apply that now, and if you don't want to worry about it, you don't really have to. So now I want you to open your mouth into an ah position. If you're standing up, then gravity will naturally just open it into an ah position. If you're lying down, you might want to actually use a little bit of strength to open it more than it would naturally hang because you're lying down. Anyway, with your mouth in this ah position, check that your tongue is relaxed. And you'll know it's relaxed because the tip of your tongue will be behind your bottom teeth. And the back of your tongue will feel, it will feel like there's this open space in the back. So now breathe in and out through this space. And the way that we want to breathe is very specific for this exercise. It's going to feel like you're doing nothing, and you're just allowing the breath to come in and go out. And there's very little effort or control, and all we want to do is be a passive observer of that process and not interfere with it. And can you maintain this open ah shape with your tongue behind your bottom teeth, your mouth open, and you'll really feel that open space extending all the way to the back the back of your tongue. So just inhale and exhale, get really familiar with this feeling, and you'll begin to notice that your body is for the most part still, except for two parts of your body that are going to move. And for the most part, those two parts of your body are involuntary. You're not moving them, yet they are moving all on their own. And they're connected. So one part of your body that's going to move is your belly. Your belly is going to rise and fall and rise and fall. And then another part of your body that's actually going to move, and it will only move if you're completely relaxed, is the back of your throat is going to balloon open. And this is what happens to your vocal cords when it comes open, is they open fully, versus if it's a shallow breath, then they'll just open like this. When we breathe shallowly, we actively take the breath. When we breathe deeply, we open ourselves and we just receive the breath. And every single time we inhale, there's almost a mini yawn feeling in the back of your throat, because you're completely allowing that process of breath to take place. And for many people, almost all my new students will actually start yawning, and that's a good sign. That means you're doing it correctly. All right, so now that you're familiar with this breath, we're going to add an element of sound. And we're going to add it in an interesting way. We're going to add it just in our imagination. So no sound yet. However, I want you to inhale, and then as you exhale, don't change a thing, except imagine yourself making a sound through this shape without moving or altering anything from your mouth. So that what's happening is the breath that's arising from down below is making its way up and out your voice. Your voice is passive. Your throat is passive. Just an extension of the breath in that fully relaxed way. And once we imagine that we're making sound in this position, we can almost become aware of any impulse that we would have had to tighten or alter the shape of that really open, relaxed position. And then we can begin to train our mind that it's safe and it's okay to allow sound through this shape with the back of your tongue just completely like open, relaxed, surrendered. And now, I bet you can guess what's next, is I want you to make a sound through this shape. And before we do, I'm going to say a couple things. One is that we're not listening to the sound of the voice. Why? Because our ears are inaccurate when it comes to listening to ourselves. We hear our voice through bone conduction and through the sound waves that are traveling internally, which is very different than how everyone else is going to hear your voice. So if you're trying to correct and alter based on the sound, which is really common, oftentimes you're not going to get the full benefit and even the full beautiful sound of freedom that you would get if instead you put your attention on the feeling of the breath arising from the belly and coming out. So for now, we're just focusing on the relaxed back of the tongue. We're not worried about the sound, and it's okay if other things aren't perfect. I want you to see if you can just maintain that shape, and then as you exhale, send sound through that shape. Now the thing that's going to keep the back of your tongue relaxed and open is an even, steady breath pressure. If your breath is like moving with more energy and then less energy and then more energy and then less energy, then that's going to kind of create a pulling back in your tongue as well. So what we want to do is the opposite of what most humans do. If we feel any kind of instability, we want to keep exhaling forward rather than pulling back. So no retracting, just continuous and keep it in one simple vowel. I recommend starting with an ah-shaped vowel and really simple. Do the same pitch over and over again. Pitch doesn't matter. So once you've kind of mastered that feeling, then we can layer on top of it and start exploring different pitches. What happens if you aim the sound a little bit higher? And just kind of keep playing around, and you'll find this really meditative space that you get into, and it's the beginning of a lot of freedom. Tongue tension is so common. So that's the beginning of it. So we're gonna long tones, try different pitches, and then if you master that, a third thing you can try is sliding from pitch to pitch. Now remember that the larynx actually has to move and be flexible in order to sing different pitches. So you're not necessarily wanting to hold or clamp it in any one position, but you're wanting it to be soft and flexible and in kind of its most relaxed position for that pitch. So there's a feeling of it moves, but it's not doing the moving, it's just kind of riding on the breath as it moves. So you can try sliding like and as you do, if you're doing it correctly, the front of your mouth won't move at all. And this will be in its most open and relaxed position for whatever pitch you're on. Now, if you've mastered that, the other challenge is how do you keep it open and relaxed while saying words? So now, so actually a step before that is you can try all of the above, but on different vowel sounds. And there's charts where you can get all the vowel sounds in the English language. There actually aren't that many, so you can memorize, there's symbols for every sound if you use the International Phonetic Alphabet. Anyway, you can just practice that same exercise with a loose back of the tongue on every vowel, every pure vowel. So then once you do that, you want to keep it open as you say words. And I just have a very simple exercise for you to walk away with. Or I had lots of them. I have another one for you to walk away with having to do with words. And the way that you kind of retrain your speaking habits to say words without any tongue tension. Because how we say consonants and how we say vowels, there's a part of our brain that just does that automatically. So even though it can seem really simple, just keep your tongue behind your bottom teeth, to actually retrain a pattern of movement in a part of our body that does everything automatically with the involuntary takes a certain kind of meditative focus. And I recommend slowing everything down so that step by step you can say different vowels and consonants in a way where the back of the tongue continues to be relaxed. So here's the exercise. You're going to say the phrase, I am alive, and you're going to elongate every sound. And take an extra breath if you needed it. It's fine. It's going to go like this. And notice that as I said that, my voice was staying connected to the breath the whole time. So there was a steady stream of breath. I didn't do what a lot of people do, which is I am alive, where I kind of backed off on the consonants. I resonated right through the consonants, which is how we can maintain a steady breath pressure even as the vocal tract opens and closes for different vowel and consonant sounds. All right, so I hope that is helpful for helping you to discover your own way of releasing tongue tension with both speaking and singing. Have a great day. Bye.